Hey everybody, this is Graybeard Gaming and welcome to Bilk and the $2.5 million contract challenge. What is a contract challenge? Well, just what it sounds like. Everything is done based on contracts. We do not own any equipment, we do not own any land, and we do have, to start off, is this leased international farmall turbo and the Unia, I think is how it's pronounced, disc harrow, and that's all we have. This is the only leased equipment we are allowed to have. We will eventually have to get rid of this and purchase our own equipment, our own tractor, our own disc harrow, and whatnot. But I cannot do any contracts except for cultivating contracts until I purchase equipment to do other stuff. So no plowing until I can afford to buy a plow. No anything. Also, besides this, there are no further leases. There are no loans, no hire purchasing. We don't start with any land. You have to own the equipment to do a contract unless it's a cultivating contract. There are no income generators, greenhouses, productions, animals allowed. The only money you can earn is from doing a contract and any additional crops that you harvest from that contract. We are on hard economy. We do need to have $2.5 million in the bank upon completion, as well as a purchase plot of land that has to have machine halls or sheds of some variety to keep your equipment out of the elements. And you have to have an actual house. So that means none of these, tiny house tents, doormats, benches, any of that stuff. It's got to be an actual house of some variety. Even the rustic house will suffice. Okay. Furthermore, that's really it. So there's no really any reason for us to not get to work. So let's go ahead, find ourselves a contract, and get going. What is really terrible is that there is no cultivating contracts yet. So I'm just going to fast forward time until something pops up. Now, I do want to jump into settings really quick. I want to turn off everything. Let's go ahead, slow down time. Okay, we are on hard economy. We are going to have a fixed visual month of June. Snow will be off 1 day per month. Seasonal growth will be off. Because this is a challenge contract, with contracts, we've got to be able to have contracts in order to do things. So that's why I am turning off seasonal growth. And it's a relatively big chunk of money we've got to earn. Crop destruction, it doesn't matter if it's on or off. We are not going to have any crops of our own. I will leave everything else alone. When it comes to workers, everything will be turned off. Now, traffic is on, time scale, that. The only thing I want to change, fuel usage. I want it to be high. All right. So let's get back. What? And I don't have super strength turned on, do I? Okay. Yeah, super strength is off. Now, let's see what we've got here. I wish I could do these. I actually have it set so that I cannot use any or do any contract unless I have the equipment, and I use that. I use the mod that will eliminate you from leasing the equipment from the farmer who has the contract open. All right, so if we go through here, we are looking for cultivating. This is kind of silly because I have started a playthrough on a contract challenge, and the only contracts I can do are cultivating. All right, let's take a look. Still nothing. I'm just going to go ahead and get this tractor all set up and turn it off. All right, do we have any contracts yet? I feel a bit silly. We're just going to keep on going. It doesn't look like we're going to get anything today. Let's go ahead. Let's slow down time. And let's go. Oh, I don't think I have the sleep control on. No, I don't. So we're just going to sit on this tractor until we get a contract, or we chose Bilk because this is a suggestion from one of my friends who I do a lot of multiplayer stuff with. He said I needed to do a $10 million contract challenge. I said he's crazy, so I settled on 2.5. Now, you're probably saying, why did you decide to do a challenge where you have a leased tractor? And I'm going to tell you that reasoning right now while we're waiting. That's because I felt, and I discussed this with my friend, I felt that if you had a tractor that had an asset value and a cultivator with an asset value, something could show up used and you could essentially go and purchase or sell your equipment to go and do that. And I didn't feel like that was fair. So what I did was, in trying to eliminate that as being an option, I just simply went ahead and made it so you had no net worth at all. And I am seeing this map for the first time myself. So I do apologize if I'm kind of fumbling around with the map and the locations. It's because I don't know where I'm going. But we're going to get there. We're going to get started, and we're going to we're gonna rock this thing. Now, I can't hire workers until I own equipment. So my plan is get a couple of contracts done, purchase a cheap tractor and fertilizer spreader so I can get moving on those contracts with a hired employee. I think those are going to be ideal types of things to earn money. I may even look at the possibility of purchasing a sprayer, but short term I want to purchase kind of a fleet of equipment and tractors to run it, and I can utilize workers on any and all of those types of contracts, because I'll own the equipment, and by doing that I'll then be able to just take this tractor and continuously do contracts such as this, and while those guys are working I can be doing these contracts while talking with you guys. Now, will I do all of my contracts on camera? Probably not. Once in a while I'll decide that I can do a contract that is simple enough, say like spreading fertilizer, and it's only going to take me 3 minutes. I might not bother to show you guys, and that's fine. Now, this is probably a contract I shouldn't have taken, but I needed to get started. So I'm already $623 in the hole because of the lease. So the end game, how do we decide on the monetary value for the end game? Well, it was $2.5 million. Just seemed like it was going to be far enough away that it would take a while, but not so far that it was just never going to be obtainable. It's going to take quite a few episodes to get to that number. As you can see, this is a little bit heavy for this tractor. That's alright though. I guess if I just kept it down, it would be able to steer a lot easier. We'll make it work, you guys. We will make it work. This wasn't the ideal cultivator that I wanted. It really could use a heavier tractor. I felt that this cultivator, with the speed rating it had, which was 11 miles an hour, kind of like an ideal choice, you know. Like I said, though, it's a little bit heavy for this tractor. When I leased this tractor, I should have put a weight on the front. That's a screw up I made. I'll just have to live with it. Now, one of the next things I do want to do is I'd really like to earn enough money to buy a small chunk of land. Nothing necessarily that we have to maintain, because once I purchase it, most likely I'm going to paint it and it's going to become a yard. Ultimately, it'll need a barn of some sort and a house. Short term, you can use a you are more than welcome to get a temporary shelter, but like I said, if you want to, you can. So what that means is you can use the tent just to have a place to sleep, but before the game ends, you have to actually have a house that would be more representative of you owning a business, living on that property, and you know, basically you're a farmer for hire. And I enjoy this style of play because I love the actual farming aspect of this game. I don't love so much productions and things of that nature. I'm not huge into animals. I mean, when I'm doing a head-to-head challenge against my friend Burn Nugget, we tend to do goats just to finance everything else, and aged goat cheese. So yeah, we do have methods that we follow in order to finance our head-to-head challenge. But this particular playthrough, it's not part of the deal. So you might ask, are we allowed to use, to sell partial bales or whatever is left in our baler at the end? Yes, you are. You're allowed to make money off of excess grain, straw, hay, whatever. That is perfectly allowable in this playthrough. What you're not allowed to do is plant a field of grass on your yard and bale that to sell. Sorry if that seems a little not fun, but this is, like I said, this is what we would call, we have a business, we don't have land. We'll have machine sheds and things like that to house our equipment, and that's really it. You can decorate your property any way you want. It does not matter to me. But it would be pointless to spend money on silos and things of that nature that offer no functionality whatsoever to your to this playthrough. So I wouldn't buy cow sheds, sheepfolds, any of that stuff, silos, bunkers, because it's not going to be useful in this playthrough. But if you want to decorate a yard to make it look like a farm, that's perfectly within your right, but you just can't farm it. Now, why did I go with a disc harrow? Speed. This is 11 miles an hour. Most cultivators are anywhere from 7 to 9, and that's their limitations. So, speed is the main reason that I went with the disc harrow. A lot of the cultivators are this cultivator's like 4.5 meters, but it goes 2 miles an hour faster. So with a little bit bigger of a tractor, this would actually be running at like 11 to 12 miles an hour everywhere. Unfortunately, we're just a little bit underweight. So this tractor, it's got 155 horse, and this disc harrow I think requires 140 horse. It's pulling it just fine, but it's a little under power, underweight to truly get to maximize its speed and efficiency. And I'm not even using GPS, so that's kind of a drawback as well. So the first contract here is going to be, it's going to give us a little bit of money, and that's ideal because we're going to look for other contracts that are in this, and I'm running at 5 times speed. I think that's sufficient. The idea that I have is I want to get rid of this tractor sooner rather than later. The reason behind that is because I pay $623 every day I have this thing leased, and it's going to take a while to actually earn money and be able to earn a living having to pay $623 every month plus every working hour. Like so far I've only got 2/10 of a working hour. This field's going to take it's going to take probably at least half of the working hour. So I could do another field this size, but then I'm going to have to pay for that hour of work. And that's not something I want to do. I haven't decided on what piece of property yet. I want something more centrally located. That way I can go in any direction off from the map to do contracts. One of the things I want to keep in mind too is that the fields aren't huge. Like this is a little bit big for this piece of equipment, but all in all the contracts, the fields aren't massive. There's a good blend of field sizes on this map, and I'm just going to show you guys really quick. Oh, and there's more cultivating, and that's actually great because those two are right next to each other. But if you guys want to take a peek at this map, there's a lot of small fields. There's not a ton of big fields. Field 104 here and 128, probably and maybe 157 are probably the 3 biggest fields on this map. We are not going to use Colossus implements, so I'm not going to be able to use that plow that does 50 meters width, things like that. not going to be able to use the TARDIS harvester, things of that nature. I might, if things come to it, I may want to use the Colossus for like vegetables, just because the hoppers are so small in general. But I have to buy it. I can't lease it. So, I mean, that's, at that point, if I'm going to do that, you know, I might as well save my $500,000 and just, you know, finish the playthrough without it. But if something were to come up on sale, then it makes a whole lot more sense. And once we get turned around here, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to look at the used market. There wasn't a whole lot in there, and I'm only going to have like $5,600 because I have to get back to a positive balance. So let's go ahead, let's take a look at the used market. Aside from that mower, there's not much that I'm really interested in. So what we will look into is an inexpensive small tractor. I like this Alice Chalmers. It's a good little tractor. This case is another one. Something like this case would actually do well for things like fertilizing, as long as the fertilizer was small, as well as the fields were small. We've got some options for fertilizer spreaders that are inexpensive. Such as this Salic right here, 18 meters, 12 miles an hour. I mean, it's a good little spreader. Alright, now that we've got him going that way, a couple other options would be this Lizard 500 liter, but it only goes 10 meters wide and 9 miles per hour. These ones are fine, but they don't have a good auto load option. The SIPMA is actually a nice one. I wouldn't mind this one. $7,500. It's a little, we're a little ways away from that. This Salic is a great one if we were doing lime. I'm just going to try and stay away from that one if I can. The 13,000 liters seems a little bit over excessive, I guess. But when we look at contracts, the fertilizing, there isn't a lot. We just have to keep an eye on it and make a determination later. But we are doing really well. We're at 61%, and that is going to rack up our time pretty quickly. We're already at 0.3 of an hour. I'm hoping to get somewhere along the lines of $8,000 to $10,000 in this first episode, and we'll continue on in this month. We're not going to move ahead month to month. We're just going to run at 5x speed. When it gets dark, we'll sleep. Each swipe seems to be doing roughly about 5%. It's pretty good. That means we've got probably about 7 swipes left. Which isn't bad. We'll be done in no time. And while we're thinking about it, let's go ahead and we're going to get this one and this one. Those are all square bale. I could get a small square baler at a relatively decent price. We'll check on that. $12,000. I mean, it doesn't matter the size of bales. I would like to stay away from too many contracts that cost us money, such as spraying and fertilizing. I know we just discussed doing one, however, you know, the idea of shelling out money early on, it's a hard one to do. I would much rather wait and get a sprayer. I think that's a much better use of, you know, funds, because a sprayer will do, you know, fertilizer or herbicide. So it's a better use of our money. And we've got to keep a close eye on our fuel usage. As you guys can see, we are already about 1/8 of a tank down, which, you know, that's a little bit quicker than I wanted it to go, but I changed it to high fuel usage because it's just a little bit added challenge. Big old crane flying across the field in front of me. Look at that. You know, we've got like three and a half, maybe 4 swipes left to finish this field. And I mean, it really didn't take a long time. Yeah, we're 35 minutes in, but you know, it took 15 minutes just to get a job and explain what was going on. So I think we did a pretty fair job, you know, finding contracts and getting work. While we're driving, let's look for a sprayer. Okay, so this one ultimately is the one I like because it does a really good job with it does a really good job as far as getting the job done. You're not going to waste a bunch of stuff. It's got a decent speed. I mean, the width is, you know, not the most desirable, but at this stage, it's probably a pretty good option. All right, so let's go back and look at more of the sprayers. The John Deere, it goes pretty quick. Has a 9-meter width, and the other nice thing is it holds 2,500 liters. It's actually quite nice. This one doesn't hold much, so I'm not a huge fan of it. Yeah, just looking at some of these, I can tell they're not all going to be ideal. So the John Deere one is kind of speaking to me right now. Its speed is solid, and it's working with, it leaves a lot to be desired. But like this one's only 12 meters and it goes 8 miles an hour. This one's 9 and goes, you know, 11 miles an hour. But so that one's 600 liters. That's 2,500 liters. You could buy 2 of those, one for herbicide, one for fertilizer, and buy 2 inexpensive tractors to lug them around, and they just make you money. It's not going to make a ton of money, but it'll make enough money. You'll be all right. All right, we're almost done with this contract, you guys, which is good. As soon as it says we're finished, we'll go ahead, we'll collect and move on to the next field. That won't be much longer. We're at 99%. I imagine, yep, there we go. Let's see, yeah. going to go ahead and complete that one. And we have our first positive balance of this playthrough. Now I do have the lumberjack mod, primarily because if there is a chance that I decide to buy a wooded lot so that I don't have to eliminate a possible income earning field, then my reasoning would be I could just clear it out with, just destroy the trees, and that would be all that we'd have to do. Now, $2.5 million is a long ways away. So this is not going to be any sort of a quick sort of playthrough. We are going to have plenty of time. There's going to be multiple years till we get to that point. But, one of my objectives will be purchase equipment, and quickly, because I don't want to be doing, cultivating contracts forever and a day with this tiny equipment. So once this contract is complete, we'll probably purchase our first actual piece of equipment so that we can move along to doing other jobs. Now, what jobs are available? Harvesting. We don't have the means to be doing that, but there are jobs like this for plowing where we could purchase a plow. Now, an inexpensive plow is not completely out of the question. I'd like to purchase a tractor that can hold its own, so to speak. I don't want to get equipment that's underpowered just for the sake of getting equipment, you know, that can do more jobs. So I don't want to be pulling like the Lizard 6M with a tractor that has no business really pulling it, you know, like the John Deere 710 doesn't really have any business pulling that 6 foot wide plow. That kind of goes against the, I think, the spirit of a challenge. It's supposed to be a challenge, not a let's see where we can cut corners. Making quite quick work of this field. I know the next one's gonna probably be, it's gonna take like 15 minutes, but I'm gonna end the episode after this contract. I might do the headland on the other field, but I haven't decided if I'll do that one on camera yet or not. It's possible. As you can see though, this one really didn't take much time at all. We're already at 80%, and it doesn't pay a ton. I mean, it's not gonna be like a contract that, you know, sets the world on fire as far as how much it earns, but I think it's like 1900 or something like that, 1300. So I mean, it's gonna get us close to that $7,000 point. And then the next one will push us over that $8,000 point, which actually will push us close over 9. So it'll be a good one to. We'll wait long enough to purchase the plow, because this tractor will pull the 6M. It's actually a nice little tractor. And we're almost down a quarter tank of gas. It'll be pretty close to being complete after we finish this swipe. In fact, it is done. Alright, let's complete it. Those are all square bale contracts. those are ones that I can possibly put on my my radar. If, you know, I can find a good deal on a baler, that is. This contract's going to take quite a while. I'm not going to force anybody to sit through and watch this, but I thought, you know, why not start this challenge while I'm doing another one, because I am still doing the Homestead 100, but I want to get this one underway because I think it's going to take a while. So yeah, I hope you guys have enjoyed it so far. It's something that I've never been much of a contract farmer. I always want to do my own stuff, but you know, to humor Burn Nugget, I thought, you know what, let's give it a shot. And this is my attempt to get some content out there that's a little bit different than what everyone else is doing right now. So I think we're going to end it right here, and obviously I'm going to keep plowing, or keep cultivating away, and we will see you guys on the next installment of the $2.5 million contract challenge on Bilk. So as always, this Graybeard Gaming wishing you the very best of days. Please be safe out there and do not eat the yellow snow, as it is not lemon flavored. We will catch you guys another time. Thanks for watching.